Hello, friends. Welcome back to our Modern Masters series. And today I have a special guest with me, Tone. How are you doing?
Doing well, sir. Thank you.
Great to have you here. And we are now up to number two on our list of our Modern Masters. And that player, this gentleman, is known as the Unknown Guy Reborn, and perhaps more commonly known as Tugger. So I'll his initials, so I'll probably refer to him as such through the video. And this guy has really accomplished an enormous amount of things in the game of anti-chess. He's been a two-time runner-up in the World Championships. He's been up there in the candidates in nearly all major competitions across many years. He's won Shields, Yearlies, has records for points in arenas. You name it, he's just about done it. And he's even had a great result over the board in Amsterdam as well. I believe he finished second there too. So maybe number two is a pretty good spot for Tugger. But Tone, how about you can tell us a little bit about him too?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's Tugger is when I first came back, I mean, he was one of the first players that I really noticed. He was the number one human, I guess, when I came back and playing against him, I could see right away just sort of extraordinary skill. Then I got to know him some, which was it's been great. And in Amsterdam, got to spend some time with him and Kex and Preslov. A kind of interesting story was we were walking to dinner through the streets, just kind of walking through the city. And Preslov and Tugger are sitting there playing a game of anti-chess just with the coordinates, no board or anything like that. And I know people do that kind of stuff, but I don't. I'm actually pretty terrible with coordinates, and so it was pretty impressive. And we got back to the Airbnb we were staying at, and there was a Rubik's cube sitting on the desk, a couple of them actually, and he had brought them with him. The unknown guy reborn had, and Kex and I were like, "You good at these?" And he's like, "I really like them." And he completed one. We spun it up and put it in front of him, and he finished it in about 15 seconds. And I know the world records and stuff are like 5 seconds or something like that, but doing a Rubik's cube in 15 seconds, I said, and then while walking around the streets, he's playing a game without a board. I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, how have I ever beaten this guy at anything? It's like, it's like just extraordinary mind and puzzle solving and all this, just incredible. So yeah, he's a tremendous talent.
Yeah, that's one of the gifts I think specifically Tugger has is this calculation. I've talked about it before in previous videos with him. Um, but really like to see him do commentary and kind of in his head, oh, if I go this, and it just whizzes through his head at the speed of light. And so you can see why he's such a difficult player to play against when, he can have that weapon of calculation as well as a great understanding of the game as well. And not only that, I think, he's also a musician. He's also does very well at studies and he's also just a really nice guy. And that's what really,
Yeah,
man, really great to talk to.
yeah, I was going to say that too. I think he's mature beyond his years in terms of how he conducts himself. He's always been a gentleman and very nice to everybody and never causes any issues, that kind of stuff. He's just yeah. He's I think he's 19 or 20 at this point. I'm old enough. I can still call him a kid. I think he's a great kid. He's a great young man. But it was great to be able to hang out with him in Amsterdam and play some live games and things like that. But yeah, yeah, just a great guy.
Yeah, so a very deserving spot of number two on this list. Great player, pillar of the community, and we have one of his games we're going to go through today. Now, it's interesting. I was just talking to Tone before about what really sets Tugger apart. Again, is his speed of calculation, but it's a bit hard to show this in this kind of setting without watching it live. So do yourself a favor and watch. Watch Tugger play live, and you'll see just how quick these calculations go. But this is a kind of different sort of game. I believe it was played like in the current world champs against,
Mhm.
Preslav, an incredibly strong player. And Tone's going to take us through this game right now.
Yeah, and I'll just add just real quick to what you said is that to me, a lot of times speed games, people that can come up with brilliant solutions or end games in speed games, in some ways to me is more interesting or satisfying than even the longer games. But like Dion said, it's tough to do that or to give it any real justice in a discussion like this. When you slow the game down, a lot of times you're able to find the solutions because you have more time and things like that. But when you're watching it live, it's interesting. And the unknown guy reborn is amazing at that. And so I've always, anyway, if there was a way I could show that, I would. But anyway, this is a longer game. So let's go ahead and go through this. So we got E3 coming from Preslov, and you never know what you're going to get. That's another thing with Tugger. He knows more openings in terms of variation of openings than maybe anybody that I know of. You
Oh,
can't prep
certainly,
for him.
yeah.
Everyone,
He can just play anything, absolutely anything
right.
comfortably. Yeah.
It's everybody jokes you can't prep for him because he literally knows and he knows the lines. It's not like he knows them pretty well and plays anything. So anyway, but this is obviously Liar Day. This is a traditional, with B6. Um, and this is Preslov's response. He likes this Queen F3 move. And we've seen some bishop to B7. As you can see, the computer here is suggesting that. Um, but we see Tugger play this F5, which is interesting, but I think it's one of the main lines. And so we got the queen take. Obviously, he's not going to come down here with the rook. So I'm pretty sure this is also a similar line, but still book in terms of going bishop b7. Comes down. We take here. The bishop takes up there on g2. And here, my mind, I look at it and I go, what happens here? The queen takes there. I'm like, oh, this is interesting.
It looks
When I was
scary, doesn't
watching the
it?
match, I was, yeah, it's a little bit like when I was watching it the first time, I said, that doesn't feel comfortable to me. But I'm pretty sure at least Tugger had worked this line out. I mean, he knew what he was doing here. And so we get the trade-off there. And then Tugger does this move. This is interesting right here. So when Preslov took here, now he's got his queen. Sometimes this can create some, complications and things that people get uncomfortable. Um, and Tugger just sort of calmly gets his queen over. And I actually love getting queens on the third file here like this, either C or F. You'll if a lot of patterns you'll see because it provides the queen can do so many interesting things from those positions in a lot of different openings. And so as soon as he did this, I said that's nice, because he wasn't worried. There's nothing that can come out of this really. So comes down here and Preslov just goes for. I think he's just going for uh, material. So he sees he's got to take something. Something's going to get lost here, and he's probably looking for to try to take away as much material as he can from Tugger. So he takes the knight. Um, Essentially trades it, but that's what he was going for there. Um, and so here, got a relatively standard position. Tugger goes ahead and he brings his king up here. Um, this forces something with the rook, right? Because it's like he's got to do something with this rook. He's either going to have to move it back here, but I think that would be a loss. So he knows Pressov knows he's got to get rid of it. So
Yeah, it's a good way of just capturing that material. So yeah, it's a clever move.
yeah, exactly. Um, and the advantage ends up here with Tugger because right here, Preslov drops that pawn. And so now this pawn right here becomes a problem for white. It's a quote, it's a passed pawn, as you would say in regular chess. Um, and you otherwise have a relatively balanced position on both sides, but this is your wild card. This is the thing that's going to me, is going to lead to problems for white, or can if played properly. So, um, Presto plays D3 here. I'm not completely sure of the logic, other than maybe opening up the bishop a bit, that kind of thing, just to give
Maybe
himself a little
develop
bit
the
more.
knight or something. Yeah.
Yeah, just more space.
Mm.
And there's no particular disadvantage to it. So, um, this move, I couldn't work out this move, because I really liked the queen here. I thought this was very good. The computer suggests this, going to d6. I probably would have gone d5, um, would have been my move, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, nonetheless, he brings the queen out behind. It doesn't change the position too much. Um,
He also
but
banged that move out in like 3 seconds, so it could just be putting more time pressure on white. So there's yeah a number of different
true, and
reasons.
and
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said by Preslov. Preslov tends to have time control, uh, or time management issues. And as you can see here, if you look at the clock, he's down to 45 seconds, and Tugger is up here above 2 minutes.
Actually, it's funny. That's one of the things Tug has gotten better at is time management because I remember watching him play sort of about 3 or 4 years back, and he'd finish these games with like over 3 minutes and just not use the time well. So it is something he has worked on to improve, funnily enough.
Yeah, and so here, perhaps he was trying to move quickly to put additional pressure onto Preslov. I'm not sure, but nonetheless. Um, so here, this was an interesting move. So he plays E5. He did think about this move for a long time. If you look at his clock, he spent considerable time thinking this out. Because when you first look at it, you say, "Oof, is that
B4, it's
really?"
dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because you bring out B4, he takes here. Can the bishop, go here, or is there a way that you can, you know, end up losing all the pieces in here? But clearly he had thought it through, and there isn't a way to do it. Spoiler alert, but um, so he does this, and then this was so Pressov, the move here. I think it's relatively natural what he did here. I think there are a couple different ways you could have played that he could have played this, but it's interesting. The computer suggests knight here, which forces the take, and then either here or here, with either the C or A pawn take after that, which I thought, looking at it again, I'm not a computer, so it just doesn't look natural at all to me. But nonetheless, um, that's what he did. So you get this sort of trade there, and then what happens now is you got to for white. You have two considerable issues at this point. When he does this, he's now down material. Um, and right here, black is just, this is to me, is just a dominant position.
Mhm.
Because you're up in material, and this pawn is going to cause real problems. He's got this pawn, but he doesn't have any way to really get it going. Um, and if this pawn comes down here, he can probably promote it. There's no connection between these pieces and these pawns.
Mm.
Um, so looking at this, it's really a matter of execution. And these are like the average player, or even a somewhat advanced player, will look at a position like this and say, you know, what am I going to do with this? I'm just going to move some pieces around, or I'll just try to do. But a really a player like the Unknown Guy Reborn will look at this and he'll be like, I've got this. He just got the. I now have to be able to play the position out, and really force the win. And so that's exactly what he does. So here comes your pawn. And then, as I said, this pawn can push forward, but there's no future to it. Um, and so here, this has forced the issue, right? Because he can't, he has to do something about the rook,
Yep.
and he can either get rid of it, which is probably the worst case,
Mm,
um, or he can try to block it. The issue with blocking is that now it's stuck. Everything is stuck, you know? Um, because if the king comes up, obviously it exposes it. So that's what he does. And then the unknown guy reborn brings over the rook, just even more powerful because now you have this whole file here is the rook is connecting with this pawn now. Um, and what do you do if you're white here? So if you try to bring the king over, you can't do that, right? Can't bring the king up. Can't really do that either. You're going to lose instantly if you do. So if you play, if you play that out, I mean, if he comes up here, you're going to bring that down. Rook's going to come over, knight's there. So it's it's hopeless. And then it's just a matter of it's a zugzwang. It's basically it's a zugzwang. It's a strangulation at this point. So now Preslov is down to he's got to move this rook around, maybe move the king over, that kind of thing. But there aren't any good answers. And so Tugger's still got this file covered. He can start bringing the king down towards these pawns, which are the only thing blocking that rook. And so Preslov just makes a kind of desperation move here. And of course, this is a
mm, mm.
relatively straightforward ending. So now it's just the knight comes over for the and it's a nice little king in front. But yeah, I mean, just very well done. But if you back up to the position I was talking about,
I think it's kind of instructive too about for weaker players, not to just push that pawn all the way to the end. You keep the tension in the position and give yourself that space advantage and let your opponent crumble. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
really good illustration of that.
for sure. I mean, this was as it usually is with Tugger, it was expertly done. In terms of, but I like this position. I like showing this because it's yeah, I think there are players that would look at this and think it was innocuous. It's sort of, well, this is fine, but it's not, this is not fine. You have a 2+5 time control and you've got this position as white. There's just not much you're going to be able to do. Um, so yeah, really, really well done by Tucker. But
Yep, and just
uh,
one of the thousands and thousands of great games he's played.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, just choosing one is a very difficult prospect when there's so many good ones and so many different styles, openings, and
Yep.
well, a very deserving spot. So yeah, I think Tugger has been the runner-up at so many things. We hope he can just win a few more titles. He's always so close. So I think number two spot kind of suits it for him at the moment, but he still has potential to get even better, which is exciting news.
Oh, no, no question. No question. And he's going to win one of these major events. He is just too good not to. Um,
Mm.
so he
All
will.
right. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Tone, and giving your insights.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And next time we will count down to the number one Modern Master player. So tune in to the next episode of Antichess Law to find out who that number one is. You might have already guessed, but we will confirm it in a wonderful final show for the Modern Masters. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.